think halfway through the second period, if I'm not mistaken, you guys had 11 shots. You ended up with around 50. What kind of changed in the third period, partway through the second? What kind of, in your opinion, turned the tide?
Well, a couple of things. One, I thought we were executed with the puck a lot better, so we were able to just transport up the ice a little more. Spend a lot more time in the offensive zone, but also, like, realistically, you have to look at just we're fresher, we're faster. Just with the amount of minutes our guys are playing compared to theirs, they're just hopefully that we can hopefully take it over. Like you saw it in overtime, how much faster and quicker we were, but just a lot less minutes, a lot less wear and tear. But you have to get to that point, and we almost didn't.
You did not allow a power play goal for the first time in this series. What did you see from your penalty kill that you felt helped you guys to do that?
It was nice. Mark Stewart, who was a penalty kill coach, it was his birthday today, so it's a great gift for him tonight. I think the guys executed really well. We made some changes. One, Bouchard getting out there on the kill. Hyman and McDavid a little bit out there also. But, you need some saves. Picks made some saves, which made a huge difference. But I think I think one thing maybe was different maybe than previously was I think their the execution of our clears. When you don't get your clears and the other team gets another opportunity, you're tired. And, I believe we scored one goal tonight like that on a failed clear, and it just gives your power play another opportunity. The other team's tired, or, if we don't get the clear, we're tired, whatever it is. But, I think maybe that was a little bit of it.
Kris, over here. Can you give us a thought on just the resiliency of your group? You were counted out in game one, you were counted out in game three. Some people are counting you guys out tonight. Just the resiliency of this group to just never give up, keep fighting, and get result like you did tonight. Yeah,
they're a hungry, desperate team. Like, they never give up. And, it didn't look very good. We were the second best team the first half of the game, absolutely. We did not execute very well. They outplayed us, and we stepped it up. And, obviously the guys who stepped it up, I think our team did overall, but absolutely our best players did. McDavid, Draisaitl, Bouchard, the plays that they made tonight, and then everyone else carried it. It was a good team effort the last second half of the game.
Is it, when you have self-inflicted wounds, like maybe you'd have had in the series, some giveaways, some bad plays with the puck, does it make it even harder to kind of get over those? Or how does that the mentality think, or do you guys think if we just clean up our game, we'd be in a good spot?
Yeah, it's not that easy just to clean it up. There's always going to be turnovers. They play a good game that you're going to force into making mistakes. It's just not that easy to say never make a mistake, because we got to play our game, and our game is, moving the puck up, making good passes, and not just a chip and chase. So there's a balance on how you need to play. But yeah, hopefully our guys, with what they've gone through, especially in the past, about the adversity of the playoffs and how difficult it is and what you need to do to overcome. And one game you're bad, next game you have to bring it again. So, I think we're okay with when a mistake happens, we let it go and continue on.
Kris, how do you maybe get to that high-end game faster? Maybe access it before you're down a couple of goals or scrapping for your lives? And how do you think you get there quicker?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, it's not always just about us. We got to give the LA Kings a lot of credit for holding us back to playing our best early in games. In Game 3, I certainly thought we came out really well. We had a 2-0 lead, and then it kind of faded. Tonight was definitely not the case. And, ideally, you have a solid 60 minutes right from the puck drop right to the end of the buzzer. It's not going to be that easy. I don't have any answers right now.
How impressed were you with the details in your game in overtime? Like, guys seemed pretty sure-handed, and the decisions seemed, for the most part, pretty solid in pressure moments.
Absolutely. I think the confidence was there. If you have the confidence, you can make those plays. No jitters. But I think it was also a lot of the emotion after, tying it up late, going into overtime. When you're the team that scores late, you have that, I don't want to say upper hand, but we wanted to be aggressive. The message in between periods was, we're fresher. We have better legs just because of our the amount of minutes that guys had played, and they've got a lot of guys who are heavy minutes. So we wanted to use that to our advantage. And if we were playing slow and just sitting back, there's no advantage for us. So we wanted to come out and be aggressive, and the guys certainly did throughout the overtime.
Kris, can you speak to what kind of a gamer Corey Perry is?
Corey's been playing really well all season. I think he'd probably get angry at me for saying he's exceeded expectations. 19 goals in the regular season, playing mostly fourth line, very little power play on the first unit. It was a really good season for a guy, and he's just continued to get even better throughout the playoffs. And we, last year, not that he had a bad playoff, but the goal scoring wasn't there as it is now. And just we've been very fortunate that Corey has been playing as well as he has, and not only scoring goals and contributing on the ice, but just the veteran leadership that he provides our team.
You've used that word fresher a couple of times. Do you think that will give you the best opportunity here to win maybe a war of attrition over a best-of-7 series?
No, because I think it resets after every game. It's we were joking that we'd prefer to play a back-to-back, but of course we don't. I think it's a new game. Next game, they're gonna sleep and rest up, and they've got a travel day. We've got a travel day. I think it's important that they do defend well and they come out strong early, and we got to make sure that we don't fall back behind, because it's pretty tough to overcome a deficit against a really good defensive team like LA is. Especially Anyways, we got to come out better.
Kris, could you explain your understanding of what's the rule on faceoffs? Guys getting kicked out all the time. Do you know what the actual rule is?
There's many parts of the rules. The centerman, the wingers tossing out. If anyone encroaches into the face-off dot, whether it's whoever's putting the stick down or one of the wingers jumps in, if they're doing it before that puck drops, that's the offending team gets kicked out. But after icings, teams get warnings, so the centerman doesn't get kicked out. So I don't know, does that answer your question?
A little bit, because it just seems you see a guy jump and then they let him stay, and then the next time he jumps and he doesn't.
It's extremely difficult because I've watched face-offs in slow motion, and I can't tell exactly who was the person who had the infraction because those sticks are coming so fast. And we probably lead the NHL in centermen getting kicked out of face-offs. And tonight was probably a season high.